traders from across the globe, and welcome to the 1275th edition of Short-Term Trading Live with Oscar, and that, of course, would be me. Good evening, traders. The 1275th installment of these nightly educational videos. These videos are geared to teach you the art of technical analysis, is coming to you on a Tuesday night for trading, Wednesday, Jan 28th, 2015. Traders, before I get into what's on the board, futures trading, as we know, is extremely risky, like what happened today. We got stopped out in Nasdaq, stopped out in S&P, lost 2 points in gold. Yuck, I was horrible today. Horrible. But hey, that's the way it works, guys. The Omni doesn't get every single day right. Now, what I put in my video last night, basically, was to show you weekly charts, weekly gold, weekly silver, weekly S&P, weekly Nasdaq. These were not for day trades. This is for what should happen this week and leading forward. So we still had a bearish Omni for yesterday on Tuesday, and boy, that didn't do us any good at all. Excuse me. We had a bullish Omni on Tuesday, and that didn't do us any good at all. But, you know, on with the show. So, futures trading, as we know, is very risky because today we were taught a lesson. I should say on Tuesday we were taught a lesson. But our stops were in, our stops were hit, and then we were out of the trade, and it continued to smash down way lower than where the stops would have been. So, bravo for stops, even though when you get hit, you don't like the way they feel, you got to have them in. So, not much has changed since what I showed you in last night's video, because that was for weekly, but I'm going to show you some stuff now that should tie in those charts. So, what's on the board? For trading on the 28th, traders, we've got a couple of things. We're starting off with a red Omni, starting the session only with a red Omni, because by the end of the session, the likelihood is that Omni is going to go green. Why? Why would it go from red, which absolutely, unequivocally, Omni is starting off by selling the rallies, but tomorrow is a Fed day, and we want to be out of the market's way before the Fed makes any decisions, which we don't expect anything at all. We expect the Fed to basically say, we're not doing anything, don't worry, we're not doing anything, and we're not going to do anything. Don't worry about that either. I think that's what the Fed's going to say tomorrow. So I say this. Tomorrow is Fed Day. Question for you. How's your Yellen Smellen? Spelled the way I wanted to spell it, by the way. How's your Yellen Smellen? I say, Rosie, if you ask me, why? A dip prior to the Fed meeting, a dip leading right into the Fed meeting, which ends on Wednesday. This video is for Wednesday. Are you kidding me? That's got to be a setup. Now, we went for the buy today and got stopped out, and then the market turned around and started to move up a little bit. We weren't bullish after we got stopped out on our longs by any means, and we are bearish starting off today. But I think Janet comes out. She's going to come out like the Fantastic Four. She's going to, you know what I mean? Let's go market. Come on, Janet. You know it's coming, right? It's almost every Fed day. So the dip before Yellen comes out, I mean, come on. I think it's great. We'll see what happens. Always put your stops in. So we're starting off short, but I have a feeling the play will be to be long before the day is over. We're starting short. We'll see where it goes. So, there is no change in the solid-looking weekly charts, like in the Dow and in the Nasdaq and the S&P and in the Russell. There is no change from last night's video. Now, yesterday, or I should say on Tuesday, the markets moved around a little bit. I had people in my chat room freak out. Oscar, you suck. Oscar, I quit. Oscar, you couldn't hit the side of a barn if you were throwing your mother at it. You know, it was just like, really, guys? I mean, you know, Omni doesn't control these markets. We have been banging away and banging away and banging away, and then we have a bad day, and you guys go nuts. Some of my chat room, most of my chat room was fine. Some of you guys went a little haywire. Then the cancels came in through the email. Oscar, I want out. Cancel my membership. Listen, we had one bad day. Sit tight, children. Omni is not known for getting slapped around very much. Will we lose again on Thursday or on Wednesday, I should say, tomorrow? Well, I don't know. Our stops are going to be in. I think when it's starting off to the downside and heading back to the upside, it's anyone's game. But we are going to start off selling this thing. We'll see what happens. So, Fed Day tomorrow. We will be out before any decision gets made. We don't expect any decision to be had at all, just the same rhetoric. A dip before the Fed meeting, if you ask me, gives us a very rosy outlook on what Yellen is going to say. So how's your Yellen smelling? I think it's rosy. We'll see. And the metals are at a do or die level. Nothing there has changed either. I'm going to show you those charts. So listen, what you've seen in last night's video is still solid right now. You've got to think about weekly charts. You've got to think about longer term. Even though we're short-term traders and we are day traders, you've got to keep the longer term in mind. Now, there are many traders out there that are calling this a head and shoulders top. And I have to say, if it was that easy, I mean, could it be that easy? It's so crystal clear that it looks like a head and shoulders top. Could anything be that easy that the easiest novices, the newest novices on the street can see that for a head and shoulders? I've got old pros calling me and telling me that it's a head and shoulders top. I am the head and shoulders king. You haven't heard me call it once, have you? I'm watching, but I'm not calling it until it calls itself. For now, we're in a bull market, having a pullback. Yellen's going to come out and do all the smelling and swelling and whatever it takes to fantastic for this thing to the moon. At least we hope. And let me show you now why the metals look like they are absolutely at a do or die spot. Traders, with no further ado, let's go look at some charts. Okay, traders, this is the very same chart I showed you in last night's video. And I said to you, listen to me, we are in a huge, what looks like to be bull flag. There's going to be massive gyration inside of that flag. You can absolutely go from the top to the bottom and still be in a bullish channel, and that's what you heard me say, right? So what happens on Tuesday? The market goes from here to here, and 90% of the globe loses its mind. All we did was stay inside the flag, and if you remember last night's video, I went like this and said, look, you can stay in here for a while and go like this. It doesn't change the fact that it's still bullish. Now, traders, there's massive gyration here. There are 300 Nasdaq points between this spot right here and this spot right here, the flag legs, right? There's 300 points inside that gyration. Where are you putting your stop? So as day traders, you can get stopped out and still be in a bullish mode here. I am telling you, be careful what you do. That's not a bearish looking chart at this point. It may turn bearish, but that's a bull flag. And I told you, gyration might be insane. It stopped us out, but that doesn't mean we won't be going up after Aunt Yellen speaks. Next, Dow Jones Transportation Average. Again, the very same chart in last night's video. And I said, look, it hits this line or the average. You choose it because they group together and bounces, hits, bounces, hits, bounces, hits, bounces, hits, bounces, hits, bounces, gets through, big bounce, hits, bounces, hits, and since it hit, it has bounced to here, and now we are in this week right here. It's on its way back up on the weekly after hitting here, and it usually bounces. So this is my point. There's no change in the solid weekly charts. This is a solid looking chart. And for you traders that want to come out and start screaming bear market because of this little move right here, when you draw an arrow, which direction are you drawing it in when you lay an arrow next to this arrow? When you lay an arrow next to this trend line right here, are you drawing the arrow up bullish or are you drawing it down bearish? If this is the arrow that you're drawing when you look at that, do me a favor, get off your seat, stand on your head, and redraw the line, and I'll bet you it'll go up like this, because when you look at a market that starts all the way down here at the bottom left corner and travels all the way to the top right corner, you cannot call that a bear market. So slow down, kids. When it becomes bearish, we'll call it bearish. Again, which way did I draw that arrow? You cannot say this is a bearish market when you're drawing arrows like this. So it's a weekly. Remember, this is long-term view. Unless we're drawing arrows down or down completely, you know, it's not really a bear market yet. So one down day right before the Fed speaks does not make this bearish. Let's look at something else. The gold traders, here's what I told you about the metals. I showed you this last night, same video, and I said we live by repetitive patterns, and that each time the gold has hit this line, it has come down, just missed the line, illustrated by that little umbrella, and came down, hit the line, and came down, just missed the line, little umbrella, and came down, hit the line. What should it do next? It should come down. That, my friends, would be considered a repetitive pattern. Why did we sell gold on Tuesday? Right here. Why would we want to sell it on Wednesday? Right here. If it gets above this, of course, then we'll start to look at this as a new type of bar and possibly a breakout. Until the market breaks out, we will call this expected to the downside. That's the way traders trade. You do not look at this and say, well, it's gold. I'm a gambler. Gold's due. Look, it didn't get out this time or this time or this time or this time. This time it's getting out. I'll bet on it. That's gambling. Trading is, it went down every time it hit that line. It should go down again. That's trading. Watch how you view your charts. Next, silver. Same chart that was in last night's video. No difference from last night's video. We're still sitting right here under that line. What happened when it hit the line? Same as gold. Same as gold. Down after the line. Misses the line. Breaks anyway. Hits the line. Breaks down. Hits the line. It should break down. It should. We shall see. Stops have to be in. No one knows for sure. But the metals are at resistance, undoubtedly. So this is our do or die area in the metals. We will find out likely by tomorrow if they're going to hold or break. Then you've got daily. Let's move back to the dailies now. We looked at all the weeklies, and let's look at the dailies. Another test of OTAPMA traders, the OMNI Trading Academy's proprietary moving average. Here's your Nasdaq Daily Bar. I showed you the weekly bar, and this whole thing equates to a weekly flag. Now we're looking at the daily, and like it or not, when you hit the OMNI average, you pop, 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 hit it as of Tuesday. Tomorrow, the Fed comes out. We hit the average on Tuesday in the Nasdaq, and tomorrow the Fed comes out. The Fed is probably going to push this right back up. Why? Because Yellen, Aunt Janet doesn't usually come out and talk the market down, right? She usually talks it up. That's what the Fed does, so this should play out. Then you've got Dow Jones Industrial Average. Again, we're going to the daily bar. The OMNI Trading Academy's proprietary is being tested again, but each test results in a profitable, or I should say, in a favorable outcome. It hits here, favorable outcome, hits here, favorable, hits here, favorable, again, and it just hit here. In fact, look closer, it got through it by this far. Here it got through it by this far. Here it got through it by this far. Here it got through it by this far. This should go back up according to patterns, right? Let's see what happens. Now again, we are day traders. If we start to break down and we get through OTAPMA, we'll start to consider the downside. For now, we are selling S&P starting this day off, but we are expecting some kind of legs to form before the day is over. Traders, let's look at one more here. What's making all of this happen? Did you see how jittery the markets were on Tuesday? Did you see how uncomfortable it was to trade? Did you see how wide the ranges were? No matter where you put stops, you got hit. Well, a rare occasion. Dollar index, daily bar down for 2 big days in a row. A rare occasion lately, but it rattles markets. So if you're looking for a technical reason why yesterday's markets were so difficult to trade, dollar goes boom, dollar goes swoon. We are not used to the dollar in this direction because it's generally heading in this direction. You don't get a lot of big down days. Look at the chart. You don't see a lot of big down days together, right? This thing goes up. 2 big down days, rattles the markets, rare occasion. That is why you had so much movement yesterday. Fed comes out on Wednesday. Let's see what we're going to get. Traders, pull your own charts, do your own homework. Never listen to anyone's analysis without doing your own analysis first. So traders, you've seen the charts, and now you've got my technical reason why I say we start off with the Omni, the red Omni, as we expect. But by the time Aunt Janet is done speaking, this will be what will take place. That's what I'm expecting, starting here, ending up here. Traders, remember, Aunt Yellen's coming out. There was a dip today prior to the Fed meeting on Wednesday. That's rosy if you ask me. The charts are still looking solid in the Dow, and I showed you the metals do or die. Traders, if you like the charts that you're looking at, please subscribe to these videos. Subscribe at youtube.com/futures analysts. If you want, come on down to my live site. It's livewithoscar.com. I have a free chat room. I am live there on camera and microphone as often as I can be sitting in front of it. If the camera and microphone is not on, I am still there. It runs 24 hours. It is free. It is there to help you. Come to livewithoscar.com and allow me to help you out. Traders, stocks. Listen, I've got stocks lined up like I did yesterday, like I do for tomorrow. But I say let's let the Fed have its day. Let the Fed day pass, and on Thursday we'll come right out and play with some stocks. Now, traders, if you like the way we lost yesterday on Tuesday, let me tell you something spectacular. You want to learn how to do that yourself? You want to learn how to lose like we lost yesterday? Because that's one of the things that do happen when you learn the Omni. We are going to hold a summer Omni camp. Thank you so much for so many applications that came in. We are holding an Omni camp at the end of February. That one is booked. Only 5 of you are allowed to come out here, so it's not a lot. Due to popular demand and so many applications, we are holding a summer Omni camp where you can learn how to spill the beans like we did yesterday, or you can learn how to call the Omni like I do in many, many of these videos, and you've seen some magic here. If you'd like to learn that, come on down to livewithoscar.com, fill out your OmniCamp application, click the banner, fill it out. OmniCamp is June 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. It's a Friday through Monday, as always. This will be our only summer OmniCamp. If you want to learn from me how to call the Omni, how to follow these charts, and on most days get it right, we can only hope, right? Everything's risky. Come on down to livewithoscar.com, and I will meet you in Vegas this summer. You traders that are coming out in February, I cannot wait to meet you. It's going to be so exciting. Don't give up, because we had one bad day. You know, we need Michael Jackson in the background singing right now. One bad apple doesn't spoil whatever the rest of the words are. You know what I mean? All right, so I think I need to get out of here now. I've had enough. Traders, again, livewithoscar.com. Keep your emotions out of trading. One of the best things you can do to help yourselves with that is say this to yourselves every morning, every afternoon, every evening, and you know what that is. Stops are in. Emotions are out. Aunt Yellen, come on, baby. Bring us home on Wednesday. Futures trading is risky and can cause substantial financial loss. We do not claim or guarantee that you will profit from the information provided.